Like a lot of dudes talk about 50, you know what I mean? 50, I know 50, you know what I mean? 50 a gangster. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's not a sucker, you know what I mean? So I just have to speak on that, you know what I'm saying?
May 2000, I got shot, so I was dropped from Columbia Records, and then I came back, and the next deal was done.
He do more for you than any artist, than anybody does for their artists, more than Jay-Z. Young Guns was right there. Young Guns was right next to me. He was like, Jay-Z don't do what 50 do for.
Become a bit insensitive. Mm-hmm. So just after...
Which one was?
In the heart of Queens, New York, there was a kid everyone called Boo Boo. He wasn't just another face from the neighborhood. He had confidence, awareness, and a natural presence that people noticed right away. Curtis knew every shortcut, every side street, and every quiet corner of his area like it was second nature. He moved with a crew that respected him, not only because he could stand his ground, but because he thought ahead. Curtis carried himself like a leader from early on. He had ambition that pushed him beyond the block.
Everybody around my way, so it's like, you had, 50, which we call him Boo Boo. Like, he jumped off the porch, I would say, at 12.
And he treated the streets like a chessboard, always thinking a few moves ahead. Every decision mattered, and over time, those choices slowly shaped the person he would become. Behind the tough exterior was a young kid with a bigger vision. Someone who wanted more than long nights and street pressure. Curtis dreamed beyond his surroundings, even when life tried to pull him back. This is the raw, often overlooked story of Boo Boo, the kid who would later become 50 Cent.
The mistakes that I made early on, Larry, he could have been there.
A figure who turned struggle into strength and built a name the world would never forget. Before fame and success, Curtis's life felt like a movie filled with chaos, loss, and survival. He wasn't born into comfort or opportunity. There were no shortcuts, no safety nets, just difficult circumstances, unstable environments, and the kind of hardship that forces you to grow up fast. From a young age, loss surrounded him. By the time he was 8 years old, Curtis had already experienced more pain than most people face in decades.
He's ahead because he was 12 years old, and I remember going to the block and seeing him with the high-riser ring, the rhinestone.
Losing his mother at such an early age left a deep mark on him, one that never fully healed. In later interviews, he shared that after she passed, everything in his life began to fall apart because she was no longer there. That absence shaped how he saw the world. Simple moments, like standing outside when the rain started to fall, felt heavier than they should have.
G-Unit. Like at one point, we were screaming G-Unit.
Yeah.
What goes on with G-Unit now?
Well, people grow. They grow.
He often found himself retreating to his grandparents' basement, a quiet space where he could escape and avoid confronting emotions he didn't know how to process. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey, Curtis admitted he was running from his feelings, unsure how to talk about his grief with anyone. On top of that, Curtis never knew his father.
They're different directions in some ways, and some of them, like Ye, he's never gonna.
Yeah.
He's gonna stay. Regardless, he's gonna just be that.
His identity has always remained unknown, and Curtis has openly said he never felt the need to search for him. For him, survival in the present mattered more than answers from the past. That missing piece added another layer to an already complicated upbringing. As a result, the streets became the structure he understood best. He connected with people who lived outside the rules, individuals who created their own systems to get by.
Absolutely. I see him in Atlanta, a mutual friend of ours named
Curtis became involved in street activity at a young age, doing what he felt was necessary to make it through each day. By the time he was 12, he started noticing how the world around him worked. He saw people earning fast money through risky paths, displaying confidence, new clothes, and symbols of success.
I think Ja felt like I was his peer because we both wrote music and was willing to compete with me, but didn't want
to. A kid who had known nothing but struggle, it looked like an escape. Looking back now, Curtis speaks openly about how those early experiences left emotional scars that made it difficult for him to trust or open up. He has said that at the time, those choices didn't feel optional. They felt like survival. In an environment with limited opportunities, he believed there was only one way forward. But that path came with consequences. As he got older, trouble followed.
Anyway, we got it on or whatever, so 50 sent everybody home. But you sent me home. You sent me home up. I was in the hood for.
By 19, Curtis found himself facing serious legal pressure after being caught selling drugs to an undercover officer on more than one occasion within a short span of time. When authorities searched his place, they found both drugs and a weapon, forcing him to stop and reflect. That moment became a turning point. Curtis realized his next move couldn't just be about surviving another day. It had to be about changing direction completely. He knew the streets would eventually decide the ending if he didn't rewrite his story himself.
This came up. You know, after he was here, he was talking and just talked himself into a bad situation. Because the timelines didn't even work. And he had previously been to the show to say...
That realization pushed Boo Boo towards something new. Music became his outlet, his chance to tell his story and redirect his energy. He poured his experiences, pain, and ambition into his lyrics, determined to turn struggle into progress. This wasn't just about making songs. It was about building something lasting. And that's where everything began to shift. He became 50 Cent, a name that symbolized reinvention and survival.
And he's like, who's here? He's like, 50. He's here. He's in the building. He's like, and I want to get him. Let's get him now.
It wasn't just a stage name. It was a statement. Curtis was making it clear that he was ready to rewrite his story completely. Alongside friends from his neighborhood, he formed G-Unit, not just as a rap group, but as a movement built on loyalty, ambition, and hunger. They started from nothing. No industry favors, no shortcuts, just relentless grind. Early on, they pushed mixtapes through the streets, building momentum the old school way. Those underground releases created a buzz that couldn't be ignored. Eventually, Curtis secured a record deal that shifted everything. Once G-Unit went mainstream, they hit the industry fast and demanded respect from anyone who doubted them.
I was getting a call, you know what I'm saying that I was wanted for a temp, you know what I'm saying, in that situation. And I had already made it back to Nashville, you know what I'm saying?
But with success came tension. Fame brought egos, pressure, and constant conflict, both inside the crew and outside of it. G-Unit officially formed after 50 cut ties with Columbia Records. The original lineup included 50 Cent, Bang M. Smurf, Domination, Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, and others. Together they created a presence that stood out immediately. Around the year 2000, things shifted when Tony Yayo faced legal trouble. In response, 50 made a strategic move and brought Young Buck into the group. With Banks and Buck stepping into leading roles, G-Unit became a powerful trio, pushing their presence even further across hip-hop. Not everyone stayed aligned. Internal disputes led to Bang M. Smurf and Domination eventually leaving the group after clashes with 50. Even with those changes, G-Unit continued moving forward, becoming known for never backing down from conflict or competition. From the start, the group carried bold energy. Whether through sharp lyrics or real-world confrontations, controversy followed them closely. Members like Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo found themselves involved in serious altercations, while others, including Young Buck and later The Game, became part of high-profile disputes that made headlines. G-Unit didn't just rap about struggle, they reflected it. Their journey was built on loyalty, power plays, and constant pressure. Everything escalated when one of hip-hop's most famous rivalries ignited. 50 Cent versus Ja Rule.
That time, 50 was traveling with like ex-Marines and like that, you know, we just had
That feud pushed tensions to a new level and changed the culture permanently. In the late 1990s, the rivalry began to surface publicly. Encounters at music events and clubs fueled the hostility, and by 2000, the situation exploded into one of the most talked-about feuds in the industry. Diss tracks followed, confrontations escalated, and the rivalry became deeply personal. Despite setbacks and physical confrontations, 50 continued moving forward. Each incident only added to his reputation for resilience. The rivalry became a defining chapter in his rise, cementing his image as someone who wouldn't fold under pressure.
With his entourage and his security, and shots were fired. A lot of shots were fired. And the crazy thing,
as time went on, new conflicts emerged. In 2003, tensions surfaced between 50 and Fredro Starr of Onyx. What began as a planned collaboration slowly unraveled due to misunderstandings and clashing egos. A moment during a live performance sparked resentment that never truly faded. That tension eventually boiled over during an award show, where verbal exchanges escalated into physical chaos. After that night, communication between the two sides ended completely. More turmoil followed at later events, including incidents involving Young Buck that resulted in serious legal consequences. Though charges were later reduced, the moment reinforced how volatile G-Unit's environment had become during that era. By 2005, G-Unit was no longer just a rap group. They were a dominant force controlling charts, clubs, and cultural conversations.
The first thing I seen was Dre, man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even aware of whatever punch or the guy whoever walked up and hit Dre.
Industry executives began pushing to expand the brand further by adding a strong West Coast presence. That move led to the introduction of The Game. At first, the alliance looked powerful. The Game's debut album achieved major success, but behind the scenes, tension quickly surfaced. Personality clashes and disagreements over leadership created friction. In interviews, 50 openly acknowledged that conflict existed, describing it as a clash of perspectives and experience. This chapter of G-Unit history is remembered as one of the most intense and controversial periods in hip-hop.
He threw him in because 50's like someone's trying to this and that. Okay. He was bleeding and he said, take my car, go to the house.
A lot of people still recall what unfolded in February 2005, when tensions finally boiled over in public. What was supposed to be a routine radio appearance turned into a breaking point that officially marked the end of the alliance between G-Unit and the game. During a live interview, 50 Cent spoke openly about loyalty and trust, making it clear he felt those lines had been crossed. According to him, standing together during difficult moments mattered more than anything else. The disagreement quickly spilled beyond the studio, and the situation outside escalated into chaos that nobody expected. Shortly after, reports surfaced that someone connected to the game's camp was injured during the aftermath, turning an already messy breakup into a headline-making scandal. The industry took notice immediately, and the spotlight on G-Unit grew even harsher. In the following year, another high-profile incident added to the growing concerns around safety in hip-hop spaces. During a video shoot involving Busta Rhymes, tensions flared again, leading to a confrontation that tragically ended with the loss of a security team member. Although Tony Yayo was not held responsible, the incident shook the entire community and reignited conversations about how volatile the environment had become. Once again, G-Unit found themselves at the center of controversy. Even when they weren't directly involved, media coverage intensified, and the group's reputation became tied to conflict as much as music. Despite that, the tension between G-Unit and the game didn't disappear. By 2007, their rivalry was still unresolved. At a private event, both camps nearly crossed paths, and the atmosphere was so tense that security had to intervene to prevent another serious situation. People in the room later said it felt like one wrong move could have pushed things too far. Around the same time, additional disputes involving G-Unit affiliates surfaced, further adding to the perception that the group was constantly surrounded by turmoil. Legal issues, public arguments, and unresolved grudges all blended together, showing how fame, loyalty, and street history were colliding in real time. As if that wasn't enough, by 2008, 50 Cent found himself in a very different kind of public clash, this time with boxing champion Floyd Mayweather Jr. The two had been close friends, but a disagreement during a celebrity basketball event turned heated. What started as a joke about a bet quickly became a widely discussed confrontation. Later interviews downplayed the seriousness of the moment, with 50 brushing it off as something that got out of hand. Still, the public couldn't stop debating it, turning even a personal dispute into another viral moment tied to his name. That period perfectly captured the world around 50 Cent. Unpredictable, dramatic, and constantly in motion. Whether in music, business, or personal relationships, controversy always seemed close by. Yet somehow he continued to move forward, adapting and surviving each new storm. By 2010, another situation brought G-Unit back into the headlines. A planned show involving Lloyd Banks didn't go as expected, leading to disagreements over money and logistics. The following day, allegations surfaced involving a confrontation at a hotel, once again pulling the group into unwanted attention. That incident added yet another chapter to the long list of controversies surrounding G-Unit. Love them or criticize them, one thing is clear. Their legacy was shaped by chaos, ambition, loyalty, and power moves that left a permanent mark on hip-hop culture. From the streets of Queens to worldwide recognition, 50 Cent and G-Unit built something unforgettable. No matter how wild the journey became, their impact is impossible to erase. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment sharing your thoughts on the most intense G-Unit moments. Stay tuned. More deep dives are coming next.